Hola! This video is going to be a little bit different from all the other ones that I've done in the past because I'm going to share with you the reason why I started Tono Latino. And it's going to get uncomfortable for me because I'm an introvert and I don't like talking about myself. But I think it's important that you, as my audience, know where I come from and why I do this. So I have to start by telling you that I am a Colombian immigrant, a naturalized citizen that never studied political science or journalism or government, none of those things. I barely knew how government worked 10 years ago. I studied computer engineering and I had a job in corporate America that I loved. I'm just an absolute nerd. I love geeking out to new technology. But then things started happening. I got pregnant, and while I was on maternity leave, you start, questioning a lot of things and trying to see how you can make the world a better place for your kids. And I added my vacation time to my maternity leave so I could be more time with my baby. And during that time, there was a reorganization at my company, and I was left in limbo without a concrete job to return to, which gave me a lot of anxiety and uncertainty. And I made a mistake. I decided to take a job that was not the right fit for me, because I put a lot of self-worth in my work and I needed something to define me. And like I said, this was a mistake. I was miserable. I didn't feel valued. I didn't feel like I was making a difference. And this also happened to be 2015 when when you start the political campaigns for the 2016 election. And so I started paying more attention. And before this, I'm going to be honest, I didn't pay enough attention to politics. I didn't dedicate the time that I should have dedicated to understanding what was happening and what I could do about it, or how it would affect me, how it would affect others. But that's when things changed. So I left my job. Fast forward to 2016, when the entire world and myself were in absolute shock. Or at least the majority of the world was in shock when he won. And I got sick because I just could not believe what had happened. And it's one of the only 2 times in my life where I have woken up in the middle of the night thinking, this is a bad dream. The only other time was when I had severe complications during my pregnancy. But thankfully, those things worked out well. This one, we know where we are, and it wasn't a dream and it was not fixed. But we can. And then the Women's March in January of 2017 came along. I had never, ever participated in a protest. I had never marched. My husband was out of town, so I left my 1-year-old baby with a babysitter, and I drove myself downtown. I was afraid to ask any friends if they were going to go because it was a political march, and so I went by myself. I was so scared because I didn't know what would happen. But then I arrived and I bumped into a friend at the march. It was pouring, and we actually didn't end up marching because there were so many people that we couldn't move. The estimates put it at 70 to 100,000 people. So we ended up just moving in I think a 5-meter radius because there were so many people, and I was so inspired by seeing So many different voices demanding justice, equality for women, for LGBTQ community, for immigrants, the end of corruption, healthcare as a right. It was invigorating. But then I started noticing something. I saw so many new organizations get new life, new political organizations or activists. Some new organizations were formed. Some new media organizations came about, like Crooked Media, the guys that do the Pod Save America and other great podcasts. But the one thing that I didn't see were people addressing the Latino community. There were some usual players like Voto Latino and Mi Familia Vota that are very focused in increasing the voter turnout in the Latino community, and that's great. They do an incredible job. But what about informing the Latino community? I didn't see a lot of that. And then, fast forward a little bit more, and I start hearing news about ICE raids, immigrant families afraid to take their children to the pediatrician because they're scared that there's going to be an ICE agent waiting for them at the doctor to deport them, or children afraid to go to school because they're afraid to come back home and not find their parents there. And these immigrant families don't know what their rights are, and they're just trampled by authorities. And all of those things just started messing with my head, and I needed to do something. And I think that's where me as an engineer, I love solving problems and finding solutions. And I knew that I wanted to help not only increase the Latino voter turnout, because I saw the numbers that broke my heart. The Latino voter turnout has been below 50% for the last 6 presidential elections. But I also wanted to address the fact that not many people were talking to us. We need Latinos to talk to other Latinos and talk to us about what's happening, how our communities are going to be affected by the different policies in the government. And I couldn't find that. So I decided to create my own solution. Faulty. I had no idea what I was doing. But at least I was trying to make a difference. And I decided to start producing or writing a daily Spanish newsletter to inform the Latino community about what was going on. Obviously, that has changed. You see what Tono Latino is today, but the North Star has always been the same. To inform Latinos in the United States about what's going on, to encourage them to get more involved, and if they're eligible voters, to register and turn out during elections, because we cannot be ignored. We're the largest non-white voting bloc in this country with 32 million eligible voters this year. And we have seen how an administration's policies can affect us so much, not just us, but so many other people. And not dedicating the time, like I used to not dedicate the time to find out what's going on and how this is going to make a difference for so many people, is not an option. Staying silent is not an option. And I know that many of us can't vote. I mean, there's over 60 million Latinos in the United States, 32 million eligible voters. We have a very, very young Latino population. Many of them are not ready to vote yet, but they can. And we need to start helping our communities understand what they can do to make a difference. And so even if you can't vote, there's a lot of things that you can do, and that's where I want Tono Latino to help. So I hope this helps. I really want to create a space to inform Latinos here in the United States, let them know about important things that are happening and how we need to participate and make our voices heard. And I've been very blessed to have a family that supports what I do, friends that have been there for me when I feel like I'm just not making any difference. Some of you in my audience have become my friends and my advisors, and I've actually never met many of you in real life, but you know that I text you and I ask you and I confide in you. And I've also been blessed by having some incredible mentors that have believed in what I'm doing and have guided me and encouraged me to do things differently. One thing that has come up recently, for example, is why I changed my content from Spanish to English, or why I changed my content from a newsletter to daily videos. And I have to be honest, I look at the data and everything is decided by the numbers and the fact that I am doing all of this work by myself. Latinos watch video way more than any other demographic group. So when a friend, Marceau, challenged me to stop doing a newsletter and to start making videos, I was absolutely terrified because, as I said, I'm an introvert. I don't like this. It makes me very uncomfortable. But if the Latino community watches more videos, I have to do what's going to help us. So I try to do it. It gets a little bit easier every day. And then another great mentor told me how young Latinos search and consume a lot of this information in English because they're first generation Latinos. So the more digitally savvy generations are searching and consuming this information in English rather than Spanish. They communicate with their families, with their tías, abuelitas, mamás, papás in Spanish, but all of this information they're consuming is in English. And so I made that change based on the data. And over 70% of Latinos in the United States are bilingual. So I can reach more of my target audience by doing this in English. And trust me, I'm more me en español. I feel weird in English. It's like a side personality, and I don't know if you feel the same. Actually, I would love to hear in the comments if you feel like you have the Spanish personality and the English personality, and that's how I feel. But if making videos is going to reach more people, if making content in English, it's going to help inform and encourage more Latinos to get politically involved, that's what I'm going to do. So I hope you stay with me as I try to inform more Latinos and help us be more aware of what's happening. We're in this journey together. Like I said, 5 years ago, I didn't know 90% of the things that I do know now about how the government works. And that's why I invite you. And I love finding this out, and I love sharing it with you. So I hope you stay here with me. And that's it. So maybe now you're wondering how you can help. And there's a ton of different things you can do to help me, because as I said, I'm doing this on my own. It can be as simple as going to my website and signing up to receive your free guide and giving me your email so we can stay in communication. You can follow me on social media and promote my content. If you like this video and any of the other videos I do, it tells YouTube that what I'm creating is useful. Share it with your friends and encourage them to sign up so that I can reach a bigger audience. If you have any ideas of companies that could be my sponsors and where our audiences could benefit from what I create, please help me connect. If you want, you can also become my Patreon. I'm going to include the link underneath. Even something as simple as $5 a month helps me finance and pay for a lot of the tools that I use to create some of this content. And if you have any other ideas, just email me directly. All of the information is on my website at tonolatino.com. The links are going to be all included in the description for this video. But please, let's make a bigger impact together.